Well, hello, and as we continue our look forward to the final of the Conan Annie Kirby Memorial on Saturday night at Limerick Stadium, we have another man who's lucky enough to own a leading contender, Pat Flanagan, one of the joint owners of Agent Stanley, along with Erwin Birkmyre. Pat, I know you've been involved in the Greyhound game a long, long time. I can remember back as a teenager watching the likes of Drangan Cross taking on the likes of Farlow Melody and Ardfort Mick. You've had some good dogs over the years, but this fellow's given you a real thrill.
Yeah, I mean, Drangan Cross was probably the best of them all. He mixed it with the best every Saturday night. I think he won 6 Saturday nights on the trot in Shelburne, wow. Which is, you don't see that very often, you know. And he had a couple of great buckles with Ardfort, Mick and Clonmel. He got beat at neck both times, but you know, real good tussles. But no, this lad's set us alight. Really, it's certainly not expected.
I was going to say, have you been surprised by his performances thus far? You know, there was no question he was bred to be a bit special. You know, like his pedigree, Law Hill, Blake, Siderian, Pearl, both absolute champions on the track. This fellow, like, qualified. He trialed, or he won his debut well at Dundalk. His next start was an A3 in Shelburne. He won in 28.50, and you started thinking to yourself, well, hang on a second here. But as it happens, that was his fastest run in Shelburne Park. He has 28.51 at 28.60 odd in his card. Is it a case of he's now taken a step forward again?
Well, unfortunately, in the morning after the 28.50 in Shelburne Park, he was late. And we took him to Dennis Breary, and he had a slight tendon problem behind the wrist, which is always one that you think, will they ever come back? But Marie and Des got to work on him, and we didn't run him again till December. He had nearly 3 months off. So in those few December races, he didn't really show much. And then he won a race in January, but as you say, 28.60 or 28.70, I can't remember what it was now. But then he started to improve a little bit again. And plus, I think we made a mistake putting the wide seed on him. It's so hard to win from 6 in Shelburne.
Yeah, even just 1 or 2 traps in, it makes such a difference.
Yeah, it makes such a difference, you know. So we then took the middle. We put a middle on him, and that was, I think, about 4 weeks ago. And I said to Des, it was the week before the Kirby started, and I said to Des, if this dog does 28.50 tonight, you're on the way to Limerick. And of course, he bangs out 28.70. I think it was 20 slow. So we put him in the Kirby, and you know, the first round, he got completely lost. Very lucky to qualify. He was the 9th fastest 4th and got him by 1 spot.
9 of 9.
Yeah, 9 of 9.
Yeah.
Got him by 1 spot. And but then the second time, he showed a bit more, didn't break that well. Then, of course, the next night he flashed out. And then last week, you know, he matched the favourite to the bend, but of course he couldn't stay with the favourite from halfway, you know, but I know delighted.
But even in defeat, Pat, you would have been very encouraged by last week's run. You know, a dog who was supposedly an early pacer, you know, he had some strong and some really talented greyhounds in behind him, and he held them off, and he held them off on merit. It was like they were getting a clean run in behind. He really kept going to the line.
Yeah, he did. I mean, he's definitely staying on better. You know, the last Saturday night, you could have said, well, he might have been picked up. But he wasn't, and you know, he stayed at it. And as you say, the dogs in behind him had a clear run, and didn't pass him. Obviously, the winner beat him easily, but he did stay well behind them. So I'm delighted with him.
Yeah, Pat. Of course, I know you a long time. You know, an awful long time, to a point where I could nearly call you Uncle Pat at this stage. Your 2 great passions are greyhound racing and wolves. Wolves have been doing okay in recent years, and greyhound racing for yourself in the last while, it must mean something really special to you to have a really good one with Des and Marie. You know, they are 2 of your best pals in the world.
Yeah, I mean, I think the first dog I had with Des and Marie was a dog called Queensland Jet back in, I think, 2000. I think it was. It's over 20 years ago anyway.
Didn't he spend 10 years on your couch afterwards?
He did. He certainly did. But here's another one. He broke his hock before he raced, and patched him up. And I think he won about 10 or 11 races in Shelburne. And then, as you say, propped up our couch for 10 years. But no, we've had some good dogs over the years with Des and Marie, but we've never had the real good one. You know, it's always been, yeah, we got to finals, but we never really were there with a real good dog. You know, I mean, they're all good dogs. Don't get me wrong. I mean, we had a character called Jamming who won 20 sprints in Shelburne. He won.
And he always minded his card. Always minded his card.
Always.
Never went that bit quicker. Just
he
to
actually
his
was
card.
AAL once, SSL once. But then he always managed to stay within S1, S2. And when he was in S1 and S2, they couldn't beat him. But now he's actually still up with Des and Marie now. He's in the retired block in Des and Marie's. We also had a good dog called Mr. Mercedes as well. He got to a good few finals for Marie as well, you know.
Yeah. It's great to have one with Marie and Des that, as you say yourself, is reaching a major finalist. Their second major final, Limerick, in a matter of months. Of course, they were with Oran Don, the Ledger final. He wasn't yours, but I'm sure you were watching on and shouting for Marie and Des. And this time to be involved with them in a major final like a Kirby, and you know, it's €80,000 to the winner. It's some contest to be involved in.
Oh, it's sensational. I mean, €80,000 in the current climate for a dog race is just out of this world. And you know, you have to really thank Mr. and Mrs. McManus, because you know, to put that support into, you know, that amount of money into an event, but not only in the event of a dog race, but the event they made around it with the GAA clubs. I mean, it's quite. I mean, I'm not a social media man, to be honest, but you know, I keep getting these things coming through on WhatsApp, and it's pretty bizarre now, to be honest. But no, I mean, it's a great sponsorship, fantastic. Yeah. Sponsorship.
Despite your accent, you'd be more than you've always proclaimed yourself. I'm nearly more Irish than English these days. You'd be more than familiar with Listu and Varna. So the Agent Stanley song, I'm sure you were able to keep along with the tune.
Oh, yeah, well known to me, and I can only do the chorus. I wouldn't be able to do the words in the middle, but I've sung that a few times as well.
That was written by a couple of girls from the GAA club, Askeaton GAA club, and of course our own Joe got up and sang. He's only looking for an excuse to get up and make an ease of himself, in fairness to him.
Yeah, I mean, again, Askeaton GAA ladies. I mean, I couldn't believe it. As I say, I don't do social media, but somebody sent me a link of their Facebook site, and the young kids kicking a ball around here and saying, "Well done, Agent Stanley," and they got some posters up there. And, yeah, it's fantastic that they got behind the dog, and not only for me, but I hope he gives them a treat on Saturday.
Yeah, so do I. Pat, of course, bookmaking is your background. You've been involved in bookmaking all your working days. From a bookmaking point of view, your fella, he would have been a bigger price from any other draw. But the fact that he's on the inside of the two favourites and the way they're drawn, I say the two favourites, the two proposed favourites prior to the race, perhaps Explosive Boy and Sing Along Sally. From the draw, all of a sudden, you have not just a small chance, you have a real chance.
Well, I think, to be honest, Ian, the draws give everybody a chance. It's a race now that, you know, every single dog in the race has got a good chance. Obviously, the favourites, you know, Explosive Boy is entitled to be favourite. I thought he'd be odds on, to be honest with you. I thought he'd be a 4 to 5, 10 to 11 chance. But at the end of the day, the way he's drawn, it could be tricky for him. And certainly the way Stanley's drawn is the right side of both Sing Along Sally and Explosive Boy. And if he happened to bang out, well, who knows?
Who knows is right. He is going to take a right turn at some point. He won't be dramatic, but he'll keep edging. You know, trap, like I noticed from 4 last week, he took a step right. So what's he going to do from trap 1?
Well, we don't know. I mean, he won his first race in 1 in Dundalk, and he did drift off. There's no doubt. But I think he's keeping fairly straight. He's not a dog that's diving to the right or anything like that. I think he just keeps straight. He won't be like a gun barrel down the rails for definite. But if you happen to bomb out and get to the middle of the track, I think he could be interesting.
Yeah, it certainly could be interesting. I was going to ask you about Erwin. Was it Erwin that sourced the dog? Obviously, he's standing Siderian Pearl, is he? He has Siderian Pearl.
No, Harry Sharp owns
Harry Sharp.
owns the bitch Sedarian Pearl. But Erwin would have reared the dogs.
Yeah.
So Harry Sharp would have had the bitch with Erwin. I had one from the previous litter. You've no idea.
Oh yeah, running well at the moment in
runs
Shelburne
around
Park,
Shelburne on a regular basis. Not as good as Stanley, I'm afraid, but still wins a fair share. So yeah, I mean, I was lucky enough that Erwin got me the dog. I had a dog from the previous litter. Unfortunately, didn't work out. So Erwin was kind enough to give me a dog from this litter, and then I said, okay, why don't we have a share each? We'll hope it'll be lucky for us. The last dog we had together, the last bitch we had together was Jamaica Judy, who got to a semi-final of a course in Oaks, and ran up the big stake in Limerick, the all-age stake in Limerick. So it's our second one together, and
you might own more with him. Of course, you have links to a few of the other finalists.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a pity that we can't all be down there, because it'd be a night that whoever won it, you wouldn't begrudge them, anybody winning that final. I mean, going through the card, if you like, I've known the Matthews family for 20, 30 years, maybe.
Yeah.
Pat Guilfoyle, I bought a couple of dogs off Pat in the past. I had a couple of dogs out the magical Bale litter, believe it or not.
Not magical Bale, needless to say.
And then I said Pat Buckley, we all know. Mr. Dowling, I don't know that well, but Shane I'd know to speak to. And then out in 6, young Mark Donovan, whose father, Mike, actually trained Jamaica Judy when she was in that Oaks semi-final. So yeah, well versed with them all,
As of course, you're not based in Ireland at the moment. You're in the Isle of Man, is it at the moment?
At the moment, I'm in the Isle of Man, yeah.
You come back in sort of 2-week spells, and that's probably been put on hold for the last while, has it?
Yeah, I mean, I probably won't come back now till well after the Euros, I would have thought. Obviously, I don't spend much time there these days, or the last few years. I mean, I've been backwards and forwards in between Isle of Man, Philippines. So that's where I'm based. But obviously, as soon as I get back, first stop is always Shelburne Park.
You have a bit of catching up to do. I dare say it could get messy Derby final night if we're all allowed out and have a drink or two.
It could be before Derby final night. If this lad happened to win and lockdown happens to be taken off, then I can tell you we won't be waiting for Derby final night.
I'll tend to ask all the connections, like what's next for him, but you're not really thinking past Saturday night, are you? Like this is the dream, and 80,000 euro with Agent Stanley.
No, this is the dream, and I think if you ask me what would be next, the most obvious one, I suppose, would be try and go for the national sprint. He hasn't been around in Dork since his first race.
21:57.
You can imagine the two games would suit him, so. But we would have had Saturday night first.
Yeah, I was going to say you'll be watching it from your home base there, laptop,
yeah,
with the computer or something to the TV.
Well, I can get it on the TV. Luckily, now it's on the television program. Otherwise, I'd have been watching it on the excellent new program of Talking Dogs TV, which has been fantastic for me.
I didn't want to sound like I was fishing, Pat.
No, it's when you can sit and watch it. When you obviously nobody can be there at the moment, but for me in particular, when I'm away, a lot of the time, to be able to watch it is just fantastic, And I think the new program has done you all proud. It's been a great start,
Yeah. Diane and Richard, are they back in Ireland, or are they around with you at the moment?
No, they're in Ireland. They don't travel.
They don't travel, unlike yourself. Tell me this, Pat. Do you have many more coming up? Do you have a few pups on the way?
Not on the track, believe it or not. I've got I think 6 coursing pups for next season. and the 4 that didn't run this season. So plenty of action on the on the field.
The course and field anyway. What about the track?
When that comes back, yeah.
And what about the track?
No, not much for the track in, to be honest. I've a pup out of with Harvey Lavelle out of Jamaica Jenny. Again, linked back to the Matthews by Cable Bay. So hope that I think he's only about 6-7 months old, so it'll be the next one. But I've got one that hasn't appeared yet, that I've just purchased with another good friend from back in the day, Stuart Kenny, old adversary. But
an old adversary that you would regularly have a drink with.
Yes. But yeah, so myself and Stuart, actually Des spotted the dog, and we bought the dog, and all being well, seeing as we're having such success in Limerick, we might be going to Kilkenny. Okay. We'll give him a try in Kilkenny and see what he's like, and fingers crossed. So you can look out for him. He's called Off the Pitch.
This is for the Champion Unraced.
Yes.
The mere fact that you're even thinking about the Champion Unraced suggests he's not too bad.
He's not too bad. He's not too bad.
Well, we listen, we wait, and we hope. Before then, perhaps Agent Stanley might just land you €80,000. You might even buy another pup or two if that was the case.
Yeah, well, they're never too slow in buying them, Ian. That's for sure.
Keep up the good work, Pat. Listen, enjoyed a few days. More importantly, best of luck on Saturday night, and I hope it gives you a run of a lifetime.
Just best of luck to all the other contestants as well. As I say, we know them all, and let's hope for a clean race. All 6 come back safe and sound. And a big thank you to Des and Matty.
Yeah, no, perfect. I think it's a great way to end. Thanks, Pat.